I've just started moving these over. I've decided that seeing as that's got all quail stuff and wood chip at the bottom, I'm going to leave it there and move this one over onto there, which I think is probably a good decision, because this, the bottom bit, is actually quite nicely rotted down, so I'm quite impressed with that actually. Didn't think it would rot down so quickly. So it's my job for the day, moving that into there. Shouldn't take me too long, I wouldn't have thought. And then what I'll do is I'll take this front panel off, put it on top of here just to hold it all in, let it rot down a little bit more, and hopefully come the spring we'll have some actual usable compost in that bed that we can spread out onto our patch. I'm quite chuffed with this. There are some nice worms in this as well, which I can't help thinking is a good thing. Okay, so I've moved the half bit of pallet that was the front of there onto there, so that I can now pile that high. Look at how good this compost is. Look at that. That's just beautiful. I'm really chuffed with that. And there's lots of it. So I'm quite pleased. So hopefully, like, these last little bits that were relatively fresh will sort of combine and rot down and whatever. I'm quite pleased, quite chuffed with that. Quite chuffed. Alright, more digging, more piling, more shoveling. I'm not compacting it down because it still needs some airflow, I would have thought. But yeah, getting on with the stuff. Okay, that's it, I'm done. Can't be bothered. So I've pretty much filled that up. Hopefully that'll rot down a little bit. And he's just throwing some fresh stuff in there. But there's compost and soil in there. But I'm starting to dig up a little bit more soil than compost. I think that's kind of where we'd put some of the turfs when we first had it rotivated. There were still some clumps of grass and whatever, and we put them in there. So that's probably why I'm finding soil. So you can see a fair amount of soil in this, but the rest is pretty good. Quite happy with that. So let that rot down. Hopefully it'll get a little bit lower, and then we can start using it. These bits at the front are just tied on. There's two sections tied on with cable ties, because that means that we can then cut them off and move them around as and when we need to. It does the job. And if you've joined, I've had to join the cable ties on there, so if you cut them in the right place you can reuse two of them, and just you damage the one that you've cut off. It's not ideal because it is plastic. I suppose you could use twine, or I could have made it fancy so that they had like pegs or something that swiveled round, but I didn't, so I'm using cable ties. But there we go. That's the job for the day. Ah, that's what I get out of bed for. Everything else is just ticking over, nothing's really growing. The onions are a little bit. He's doing his weeding thing. But other than that, yeah, it's not too bad. Need to do some weeding at some point, because weeds do grow, they just grow really, really slowly, so they can easily creep up on you. But there we go. So there's the compost bins. I think I might go and treat myself to something for dinner. Well, lunch now, because it's still midday-ish.